All right.
Yeah.
Dobadan, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm joined by Emmanuel Richmond, aka Afu Sensi. We go back from what? MySpace? What year was it when we connected on MySpace?
It was
Uh
1,000, I guess.
2000.
I think so.
Yeah, like 2006 or 7, something like that. Six or
Something like
something
that.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. And so like first let me just kick it off with, because when we first linked up, um you're going by Seventh Son. That was your artist name at that time, right? You
Yeah.
should just give us a little bit of background on like your musical background, artistic background, and like how you got into hip hop and whatnot.
It's because of my older brothers. And hence the name Seventh Son. I got 6 older brothers. I'm the youngest, the seventh, and that's why I rock that name. But they were always listening to the Fat Boys. Even I grew up with the Fat Boys. I was around 5 years old and trying to do the breakdance moves to the videos. And after that, I think few years later, when they started listening to Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg, N.W.A., and the Mobb Deep things, it hit me, man. I fell in love with it, and I wanted to be like the guys on the posters in their room.
Your
You
brothers,
know,
were they in a group, if I remember correctly?
one of them, yes, as an R&B singer
So they went in a group together. But he was in a group like with some
with
of
other
the.
guys. Yes.
Ah, okay. I had like this thing on my mind that they were in a group together.
Nah, man. I wish it would be awesome, like the Jacksons, but
Yeah,
different.
and like, because I remember my first introduction to you was like, or I remember. Do you know how I found you? First of all, do you know how I found you on MySpace? I don't know. Did you ever use any of those MySpace adders, those friend adders? Do you know about them?
Yes. Yes.
So like, I had a friend adder called, I can't even remember. I think it was just called MySpace Friend Adder, but I can't remember the company that made it. And basically, how it worked is that you would go on a page and it would collect the profile IDs, because it was like MySpace. I think you could add, was it 50 people a day or something like that? 50, but
Yeah,
like,
you had a certain maximum.
nobody's gonna. I mean, if I don't know if anybody actually had the time to sit there and like add 50 people. So this thing would collect the IDs and just add
Way before
people.
the bots.
So like it would do that, and yeah, it was on because remember they had the music charts for
Mm.
artists. So it was,
Yeah.
I went on the Dutch music charts for hip hop, and I just
Hmm.
collected up the artists, and yeah, so you were one of the profiles that they found.
Crazy.
And I was like, I came on your page, and you were rapping in English. And the thing that struck me is that because I hear a lot of non-native English speaker, like people in general, but artists specifically, who
Hmm.
do music and they decide, okay, I want to start writing in English, but you can tell they're not, comfortable. But when I
Yeah.
heard you, I was like, unless I saw like your location, I would just think you're a native speaker. Like I would just,
Wow.
I would never even think, oh, this guy is from like this. This isn't his first language. I would just automatically think, okay, he's from a native speaking country somewhere. Like, what was first of all, what made you decide to rap in English or write lyrics in English in the first place?
All my examples were rap in English, and I wanted to be exactly like them.
Okay.
When it comes to guys like Snoop or Wu-Tang Clan, but even So Solid, um, Dizzy Rascal, they were all rapping English, and it sounded perfect. And the difference that you heard with like people from other countries who are not comfortable speaking English or writing English, um, I don't know. I guess I heard it as well. So I was trying to pronounce the words exactly as
Okay.
as a native speaker does.
Okay.
And,
So was it?
I have a little Guyanese family as well, so,
Okay.
helps.
So was it a process like, did it come natural to you, or was it something that you had to like study to get it like sounding very clear?
It came natural because when you listen to somebody how they pronounce a word, you're gonna hear the difference if you say
Right.
it otherwise. And with the other Dutch guys and even German or French guys who try to rap English, I was like, pick one, man. Pick. Just do it in Dutch, French, or English, or just pick one. Don't do both at the same time.
'Cause this is the thing, because I remember there was one other. I haven't heard from this guy in a long time, but there was one other artist. I think on my first mixtape called, what's his name? Johnny Black. He's from Amsterdam, I believe, and
Mhm.
he was on one of my songs, Dutch, and but he had like English. To be fair, his English was really good, but
Yeah.
it was like with a heavy Dutch accent, and like I don't hear that with you.
But that's the thing with Amsterdam people, man. They have this certain accent, even when they speak Dutch. You immediately hear somebody's from America.
Okay, so that's like all right, fair enough. So that's like okay, okay, that makes sense. And
It's a different curve for them.
but like Rotterdam is like how like what 2 hours away, like
One.
by car,
It's
1 hour.
not that far from Amsterdam.
Okay, so what was your idea behind your transition between like being seventh son and then becoming Afu Sensi? What was the transition there?
At a certain point, I had this feeling like I am not adding anything to the culture. And I sounded like, everybody else.
Right.
And I had no, I felt like I was missing my own identity, who I am as a person, where I'm from, my roots. And that made me do the switch. And the fun part is the grammar, the way of building a sentence in Surinamese is the same. It has the same order as English.
For real?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So that's why the change was easy for me.
Okay, man. Okay, because that explains a lot because what was the single? How do you pronounce it? Koti Odo, the first single
Yes.
you dropped. I remember
Yes.
when you dropped that video, and I was just like, I could hear. It was amazing to me because a lot of people when they switch between the languages,
Mm-hmm.
is like you can't. They sound like almost like a different person essentially. But
Yeah.
when I heard that track, I was like, even if I didn't see the video and I just heard the track, I'm like, I know that voice. It was like such a smooth transition. I would like different language, but like I know that voice. And now that you explained that, I'm like, okay, it kind of makes sense to me because a lot of people I hear who rap in different language, like they sound
Mm-hmm.
like completely different. But that also brings me on to another thing actually, because I don't know if I've been doing a lot of like research about like language and language learning and all this kind of stuff. And something that struck me that makes sense is I know you might have heard it before, but the first language that you learn,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's your native language or just the first language that you learn, which is usually your native language, but not always, depending on where you live. But
Yeah.
basically, the first language that you learn or your native tongue is the language that structures the way that you perceive the world. And when you learn other
Mm-hmm.
languages, I guess that gives you alternate perceptions of seeing the world. Being somebody who's multilingual yourself, do you feel that?
To a certain level, yes, because when I started rapping English, all of a sudden I had a whole bunch of words extra to describe something.
Right.
Like the Dutch language is not as broad as the English, and it gives you more ideas, more ways to describe things, even more angles to look at things.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and for a fact, I've been to Portugal like 3 times now, and I'm learning it on an app on my phone because I wanted to speak the language so I can speak to the people over there in their language and get to know more about the country and the culture and things you can do over there than if you just come in as a tourist and ask if they speak English. And it has this almost the same feeling as when I first learned about English. Like, wow, it's a whole wide world of new things to discover. So yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. And not that the Dutch language is small or how do you say that? Limited, but it's different, and you have like less words to say something. And
Yeah.
I think for like not Dutch people, Dutch people might come across as very direct because there's no other way to say a thing. So
See, no, you actually hit on a point that I was exactly thinking about, because when I started to understand like Bosnian, Croatian, Serbian, it's like, yeah, there are loads of ways to express yourself, but a lot of the ways that you explain things is quite direct. It's like boom, and like and then people for that people in general are quite often direct. They're just, oh, I'm saying this is what I'm thinking. I'm saying it. And when I realized when I started to learn, I started to think like that. I started to just sometimes it would even cross over to and out flipping back to English. I'm just saying something like directly, and people back home are like, hey, why are you being like that? I'm like, no, I'm just saying. Like, so yeah, no, that makes perfect sense.
every
And
time I cross a border and somebody asks me something and I react to it like, oh no, and then they be like, whoa. But in my head, I mean, like, no, thank you, it's okay. But no, yeah,
your your your
that's
your first EP in ceremony is what? Switi or Orsyade? Is that the title?
yes,
That's the
yes,
title of the song and the whole EP. You had a single and the whole EP with the same title. Yeah?
yes, indeed.
What does that translate
Um, Orsyade is a drink we have in Suriname. And I think in Spain and Dominican and the Spanish countries, they call it horchata.
Okay.
And it's made from bitter almonds, but it tastes really sweet. So it's like when life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
Ah,
That's
okay. And in the music video you did for the single, is that the drink that you're holding?
it. Yeah.
Ah, okay. All right. Okay, that makes sense. Because I'm reading the translation that has the about the bitter almonds. So okay. So
Yeah.
okay. So it's like essentially it's like the metaphor when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. It's the same type of. Okay.
Yeah. Because that describes me as a person. You always I always have to be positive, and what situation I go through, I have to like ask myself, what can I learn from this, or how can I better myself, or so
Yeah.
that's why it took so long to make the whole project, because I write more than I record, and then it's like a puzzle. You're gonna check what fits to each other, even the right order, and the beats, everything, you know, and even though I wanted to do it as a job, I always did it when it's convenient to me. You know, between in between everything, work, family, life itself.
That's the thing, actually. I find that is very respectable, like in your artistry, because I mean when you dropped when you dropped the first EP in Ceremonies, I mean it was dope, like the beats, flow, everything. But I also remember thinking, like, arguably people could say, oh, oh, you if you dropped an album in English, it would be more, let's say, commercially viable. Let's say,
Reach a wider audience.
yeah. Is that something that you ever thought about, or representing the culture is more important to you?
I thought about it often. Yeah, I was like, fuck it, man. I'm gonna do this. This is who I am, and um, I want the world or whoever listens to it get to know me for who I am. So, you know, I was just like um, being me,
Mm.
I guess, and I didn't care about how much people I reach. I felt like I had to put this out, and I did it. It's yeah, my individuality,
Yeah, man.
I think.
It's I would say you're amongst the last of a dying breed, because a lot of artists these days don't think of it that way. It's very look, I don't even blame anybody. I mean, I get it, but it's in a way, I think I don't know if you would agree, but there's a certain amount of artists that are kind of losing their artistry because they're so focused on the numbers, how many streams I'm gonna get. And to be honest with you, I'll actually be honest with you. Actually, there's I would say, because, like, I don't know, between 2000 and 2007, 2000 and to the end of 2008, I had like a big growth on MySpace, and
Hmm.
I think this is one of the positives and negatives of social media. Social media is great for independent artists. You can promote yourself. You don't need a big machine behind you. But one thing I noticed it with me, and somebody had to one guy who was a fan of mine, or maybe he's an ex-fan now from Lithuania. He had to put me in check, because he just sent me this message one day. He's like, "You're smooth, man. Like your ego's going out of control." And I was like, "What?"
Really?
He was like, "Yeah, man. Like, and I was like, and I read his message, and I like picked apart a few things that he said, and I was like, you know what? He's kind of right. He's like,
Wow.
I'm like, you know what? Some of this shit that I said, like, I would never even dream of even. So I had to, like, he checked me, and then I had to check myself, and I'm like, okay, man. And like, it was harsh, but I was glad to have that. A lot of people, I see people I know now who are like, man, the egos are going out there, like, because they're getting like millions of views or whatever. And so that's, I don't know, like I say, social media is a great thing for the
Hmm.
independent artists, but I don't know, I think there can be an unhealthy side to social media if you're not checking yourself, basically.
But I think it's human.
Yeah, it is human. That's true.
I wouldn't be the same person if I had a million views on YouTube right now. Or, to be honest, I wouldn't be the same. I would, I, for a fact, I know I would be different. I don't know how I would be exactly, but you know, it gives your confidence a boost, and then it's gonna lift.
Yeah,
When it's gonna lift, and then the changes are coming.
I
And
guess
if you earn money with it,
mm,
you know, and we all know uh how it is to go to a regular office job or be in a courier or whatever, work in a grocery store. If you get a lot of money from your songs, and a lot of people are listening, digging your songs, looking up at you, it's normal to change, I think.
Would you
I
would you
honestly
say?
think.
You know, I agree with where you're coming with it from, but here's what I'm think. Here's what I'm thinking. For example, when this cat from Lithuania got at me, I kind of just went because look, I think as an artist, especially as a rapper, there's a certain
Mm-hmm.
amount of, I mean, most MCs I would say have been in rap battles, even if it's not in a official capacity. Like you can't
Yes.
go into a rap battle with no kind of ego. I don't think so. Like I think if you go in with like devoid of ego, you're probably gonna get crushed. So I think okay, ego, you know what I mean? Ego does serve you in certain contexts, but I think it's also something that should be managed to a degree because your ego isn't necessarily exactly who you are, if that makes sense. Yeah, sure, it's a part of you, but
It's a
it's
part.
not exactly who you are. And I think sometimes if you cross that line of just believing the ego is everything that you are, you kind of get lost.
Indeed. I
And
agree.
this is why when this guy checked me like, yo, like you're going a bit, you're going a bit far. It's like, okay, you know, I respect that. I respect that. But I feel like there's some people I think like I don't want to say that they're too far gone,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a few people that I know that personally that I've tried to be that same person that guy was for me, and they're just like nah. I'm doing my, and I'm just like okay, yo, that,
Yeah,
so,
the key is to be balanced.
right. And this is what when you were saying you're bound to change based on like money, status. Would you say that? What would you say it's more of that you're changing or you're revealing who you actually are? Because that's the other argument about that.
I think both. I really think both. Revealing who you are, because when you finally can do everything you want without, any how do you say that? And without any backlash or whatever.
Yeah, like you have less consequence or
Yes, less
yeah,
consequences. Then I think the a part of the real you is showing it less diplomatically.
yeah. No, that's true. It's easy to be humble when you don't have much, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it depends on who you are, because I've been through hard times, and it learned me a lot. And if I have a whole lot of money, I don't think I would change certain things. Like, for instance, when we're cooking and there's food left, hey man, I pop it in a box and put it in the freezer for a time I don't want to cook, or it has to happen fast, and then you pop it out, heat it up, and you have another day, another meal, another day. But if I would be like very rich in a minute, I wouldn't change that, because I've seen the difference.
I mean, I would assume that's something you also grew up doing, like at home with like, I mean, I know my mom
Yeah,
would never just throw food away. So I got a boy. I mean, he says he's retiring from hip hop now. I don't know. We'll see. But he's quite a well known artist in Bosnia. And when I first met him, he couldn't cook. I was like, so he used to call me like, "Oh, yo, Nick, are you coming over?" And then I come over. Yeah, let's come over for dinner. And I'd come over and like would be the ingredients on the table. I'm like, "Oh, so you called me to cook? All right, cool."
wow.
So then we'd cook the meal and whatever he didn't finish, my man would just throw away. I'm like, yo, and you gonna put that in the fridge? And I'm like, yo, you're from Bosnia, bro. Like, you know what it is. You know what it is to like be hungry and how you just, he's like,
Yeah.
nah, I can't eat cold food. I'm like, what? just and I can just see so like, and he's at a certain amount, and he's like that. So I can imagine him with money being like, yo, I'm just gonna take like one bite out of this cake and throw it away.
Throw it away. Wow. Nah, that's not the way. But you know, it happens. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
And it happens with other things as well. Women, with clothes, with brands, you know. But hey, yeah. I think it's depending on who you are and how you look at life and how you look at yourself. And I think, like for me, social media, it doesn't bother me that much. Even if I had like 2 followers, I still be me and do the things I do. But I think if you have 1 million, you got to think about what you're posting and what you're doing. And because right now, I think at that point you are such a great influence on people. It's normal to change, man. People change.
No, it's true. Like, because I remember, like, what was before MySpace? Before MySpace, like, died. I was like, I don't know, it reached like over 100,000. It was MySpace friends, right? Yeah, so it was like over 100,000. And like, I guess until I started traveling to these places, it was just numbers on the screen. I didn't see it as, it was, oh yeah, 100,000, like, and then, I think it was the first time in Belgrade when I went to shoot a music video with some dudes over there. And we went in the center. And there was like, we're walking, and there was this group behind us following us. And I was like, and then like there's 2 girls in the group, they were shouting, smooth, deep. And then my boy who I was with, like, do you know them? I don't know them, man. And then I just clocked that they must be connected to me on MySpace. And that's when it hit me like, oh shit, okay, these are actual people. Like, it's just a number, these are actual people that are here listening and reading, like, the stuff that you say. So yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. Like, there is, once you reach a certain number, there is like, I would say you should be mindful, at least. Because I see people saying like some of the most wildest stuff, and it's like, yo, somebody's gonna take that serious. And like, yeah, man.
It goes both ways, man. You see it with the baby when, you know, when you do not change and say things without thinking about it, and everybody like want to cancel you.
What are your views with the cancel culture?
He was just being him, and he was not thinking about the consequences.
Right.
That's just it. It's really not that deep, I think.
I agree with you. I mean, this is the thing. What was it? The whole thing that Dave Chappelle said with regards to that. Have you watched the Dave Chappelle?
I've watched the Netflix show. Yes.
And people got mad at what he said, but it's like true. Like, we're more like, the guy can kill somebody, whether the circumstances, obviously, I don't know the exact circumstances, self-defense, whatever it is, somebody died in that situation.
Yes, but he also explained that people, they do not listen to what he said.
Right.
He is not attacking the LGBTQ community. He's just stating Black people are still the victim. And there hasn't been change since Martin Luther King and before. That's what he's actually saying, but people only listen to he was attacking transgenders or whatsoever.
No, there was no, I agree with you. There was no attack on transgender. And even in the last part, what I got from it, when he was saying my people, I don't know if you got this from it, but I also got, like, when he said my people, he also was referring to comedians in general. Like, because
Yes.
comedians are getting, like, cancelled and whatever for saying stuff, and it's like, yo, it's a
Yeah.
joke. And even if there is seriousness to the joke, okay, fine, but that's a perspective. You don't have to agree.
Yes. Indeed.
We can have different views. Like, this is the whole the thing, the era that we're in at the moment, which is really, I find really weird. Is like, if you disagree with what I would argue with the left, like left wing politics, if you disagree with, or let's say far left wing politics. There's a lot of left wing people who are fair and balanced, but if you disagree with, like, far left wing politics, you're attacking them. And it's like, no, I'm not attacking. This is my view.
Yeah.
Like what's it like in Holland with all of these kind of issues?
Same. For instance, the Black Beat thing, where they have these festivities for kids, they say, and they have like the blackface slaves walking behind the white dude on the horse. These extreme right people, they just keep yelling. It's a child thing. It's for the children, but they don't realize that children don't see color. Children just want to party. They just want to have fun. They just want to eat their sweets. They don't care if you cancel the blackface guy. But they call it tradition, and they want to keep the blackface guy. And when we say it's racist, then we are attacking. So, you know.
Right, yeah. So it goes both on the left and the right. Yeah, okay, that's fair. And, like, wait, so the Black Pete tradition, there's a special celebratory day for that, right?
Yes, December 5th.
5th of December. And what? And it's still going?
There's been so much protest, so much noise. It reached like world news, and now they have like a colored guy with some, I don't know, stains in his face, because they made up a story that he went to a chimney. I don't know, man. I have 2 children. I'm not celebrating those kind of events. Really, me, Christmas is enough.
Yeah. And wait, were you born in Holland or Suriname?
Yes, I was born in.
Your
My
parents.
mother was pregnant in Suriname, but then she came to the Netherlands.
Okay. And how would you say you most identify? Do you identify with being Dutch more, or being Surinamese more? Is there a balance? How would you?
There's a balance. I always grew up on both. Like, I had to speak Surinamese as well as Dutch. But my grandfather is from Guyana, British Guyana, so they were speaking English all the time. And from there, I had like the whole Caribbean English. My granddad was, when we visited him, the TV was always on PC. So, you know, my elders always taught me in school or in work settings, you have to work like 10 times as hard, and your Dutch has to be perfect, because otherwise you won't stand a chance. And at home, we were black as F, you know. We had always had our traditional Surinamese culture, the parties, the family, the food, at other events, you know, even at DAF, you know, we always had our cultural things and own Surinamese rituals. You grew up on it because they want you to they want you to know about it and know where you're from, who you are. So yeah,
man.
You know, at the home it was always it was a big difference, and I've learned about it in school,
Okay.
because then you meet other kids who do things different.
No,
Right?
man, that's a beautiful thing, man. Actually, because I wish I had more of that for myself growing up. Because I mean, I understand. For example, my mother was more, I guess, trying to do this thing of, fit into like,
Mhm.
it's like, yo, my last name is like Simo Getting. Like, I'm not gonna fit into like British culture like perfectly. So I don't know, like, for example, in Africa in general, to be fair, there's like the concept even of, let's say, of whiteness
Mhm.
isn't so much even your skin color. It's like your
Yes.
behavior, your mannerisms, your culture. Like, for example, in Uganda, Kenya, there's I think it's a Swahili word, I believe, Mazungu. So
Mhm.
there's Mazungu is the name given to the first Europeans that came to East Africa. So it literally translates to uh, the one who travels. But
Okay. Wow.
in a let's say a more modern context, when people say Mazungu, it's basically saying like, the white person, the white guy, the white chick or whatever. So like when I go to Uganda, I'm Mazungu. as, soon as,
Crazy.
as soon as they hear me
Crazy.
speak, look at this Mazungu. I'm like, okay.
Let me tell you something. Even though I speak perfectly Surinamese, when I touch down on grounds, they'd be like, "Yo, Holland boy." They
Okay.
literally say, "Holland boy, Holland boy."
Okay. All right. So
Yeah,
it's a similar thing then. All right.
yeah. I
But
think that's everywhere you go in like a country which has a colonial past. Because over here you have this guy. He's amazing rapper. He's rapping in Turkish language. But there is like a certain group that says, "But I can still hear you from the Netherlands."
okay.
But I don't know. Yeah, he's going really hard,
Yeah. No,
and even though I don't understand Turkish, but even I can appreciate it. So.
yeah, man. All right. Well, one thing I'm definitely doing now is I'm definitely trying to get more into in touch with my African roots, with my art and my music. Because the thing with me, like especially going to the Balkans, like in
Yeah.
2009, and like the thing did it surprise? Yeah, it did surprise me. The thing that actually surprised me that socially, uh, the Balkans, like the social norms in the Balkans, are really close to African culture. Like the so I felt kind of comfortable there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now I'm like, okay, let me even dig into my African roots a bit more. So I think that will be something something interesting. But I know you got to shoot off.
Yes, but what
Shoot
you
off.
got to do, visit the home, the motherland.
Yeah. Definitely. I haven't been. Last time I was, I mean, last time I was there was as a kid, but I definitely got to go back and touch down and you know what I mean.
Link up with family. You know.
Definitely, definitely, man. All right, man. I know you got to shoot off, man. Before you head off, are there any works in the pipelines? Anything that we should look out for?
Yeah. I rapped in a commercial, which is airing anytime soon. It's fully Dutch, and I even have 2 bars in English in it. So
Okay, awesome.
you got to stay on the lookout for that. And I'm working on a new EP,
Yeah.
which I will release in the new year, I think in March.
All right,
I haven't
awesome.
recorded. I have written a lot, so I have to put some work in, but we're getting there. So don't shoot me if I was releasing if I'm releasing in April or May, but March is the goal.
I feel you. I'm always in the same situation. It actually leaves me with one more question, actually, that in regards to when you're saying you write more than you record, yeah?
Yeah.
Is that because there's stuff that you write and you think, I don't like this? Or is it that you, like, what is the actual reason behind that? What is the process behind writing more than you actually record? I mean, most people do it, but when you say like you write way more than you actually record?
Sometimes I just write things that come to my mind that are not even a song to me. Sometimes I write like to sharpen the pen. And sometimes I'm working on a song and then I run out of inspiration and then I leave it like that. To be honest, that's my most honest answer ever about writing songs. Yes.
Okay, no, I feel you because I did a lot of. I have a whole book of songs, like I don't know, maybe 300 pages, and I'm not going to use any of them. I just like wrote them, and I'm like, yeah, it was a good exercise, but like,
yes, to sharpen the pen, yes.
All right, awesome, bro. It was a pleasure. We definitely got to link up in the near future. It's been like too long that we've known each other, man. So
yeah, man, definitely,
man. It was a pleasure to have this catch up. And
yes,
man,
thank you for having me.
Peace, man. Thanks for your time. Bless.
Show me your true colors. Why fight unless you like to see your true colors? Whether it's dark, I like to see your true colors. The black and white, they ain't even true colors.